At 66, Michael E. Knight speaks out at last, confirming what many had long suspected. For weeks, the entertainment world buzzed with an electricity that no one could quite place, not the usual purple spark of soap opera spoilers nor the polished gleam of red carpet rumors. Something deeper, something older, as if a secret had been vibrating just beneath Hollywood's surface, waiting, for years, to be spoken aloud. And on a quiet Wednesday morning, when the sun had barely climbed over the Los Angeles horizon, Michael E. Knight, beloved actor, three-time Emmy winner, and the man forever etched in fans' hearts as Tad the Cad Martin, finally spoke. He did not choose a press conference. He did not call a magazine or orchestrate a high-gloss interview. Instead, the 66-year-old actor wrote a letter. Handwritten. Uneven ink. The kind of letter that feels like it has weight, history, bones. A scan of it appeared on his official social media minutes later. At first, fans thought it was a poem, or perhaps a retirement announcement. But then they read the first lines. I suppose it's time to tell the truth. My truth, something I should have said decades ago, long before rumors tried to speak for me. That was all it took. The internet detonated. Within an hour, hashtags surged. Fan pages lit up like summer fireworks. Speculation spiraled, old interviews resurfaced, half-remembered magazine quotes were dissected, and everyone wondered the same thing. What truth? What had he kept silent for so long? What had he finally decided the world deserved to know? His letter continued, dense, emotional, cryptic, and by the time readers reached the bottom, they were breathless. Because Michael had finally confirmed what people had whispered for years. Not a scandal. Not a scandal at all. Something far more human. Something far more profound. Something that would reframe his entire career, and perhaps his entire life. Hollywood's golden rebel ****. To understand why the letter shook the industry, one has to step back to the beginning, before the soap opera iconography, before the fame, before the weight of rumors. Michael Edward Knight entered Hollywood like a bright-eyed comet. Not a quiet star. Not a reluctant one. But a force. Funny, charming, quick-witted, and effortlessly magnetic. The kind of actor whose presence didn't just fill a screen, it rearranged it. When he stepped into the role of Tad Martin on All My Children in 1982, he was barely in his 20s. But the character, a reckless, charismatic heartbreaker with a talent for stirring chaos, fit him like a second skin. His early colleagues remembered him as unpredictable in the best way. He refused to play safe. Said one longtime writer. If you gave him a simple line, he'd twist it, reshape it, and suddenly the scene had texture. He listened. Really listened. And the audience could feel that. But fame, especially the intense parasocial fame of daytime television, comes with shadows. Fans felt they knew him. They believed they had a claim on him. And it didn't take long before whispers about his private life began to swirl, sometimes soft as smoke, sometimes sharp as glass. He rarely responded. Not because he didn't care, but because he cared too much. And every time he opened a magazine or overheard a conversation about what Michael was really like, he felt a tightening in his chest, a kind of misplaced ownership that strangers seemed to feel toward him. Years passed. Decades. The rumors changed shape but never disappeared. Yet he remained silent. Until now. The secret he carried ***. His letter did not begin with revelations. It began with reflection. I have spent more of my life pretending to be someone else than I've spent being myself. He wrote. And somewhere along the way, I forgot that I too deserved to exist honestly. Fans gasped at the softness of the confession. Because Michael, playful, sarcastic, clever Michael, was rarely vulnerable in public. He preferred jokes to tears, mischief to melancholy. But in this letter, he stripped everything back. And then came the line that poured gasoline on the fire. People have said for years that I was hiding something. The truth is, they were right. What followed was not scandal, not betrayal, not anything unkind or destructive. It was, instead, something beautifully human. Michael revealed that throughout his career, while fans praised his charm, his romantic storylines, his on-screen confidence, he had quietly battled crippling insecurity. A lifelong sense that he didn't quite earn the success he received. The world saw Tad Martin. He wrote. And assumed I was him, smooth, fearless, always ready with a line. But I wasn't. I never was. I was the boy in the back row hoping no one noticed how scared he was. The admission hit readers with the force of a tidal wave. For years, fans had speculated he was hiding trauma, sorrow, identity questions, addiction, or heartbreak. Magazines sensationalized every mystery.
Hollywood insiders whispered endlessly. But the truth was simpler, and far more heartbreaking. He had spent his life feeling not enough. Not talented enough. Not handsome enough. Not deserving enough. Every award felt like luck.
Every compliment felt like a misunderstanding. And every time someone praised me, I waited for the moment they realized they were wrong.
At 66 years old, he finally said it aloud. The cost of the spotlight ***.
The reaction was immediate. Industry colleagues released statements flooded with empathy. Fans posted paragraphs, long, raw, honest messages thanking him for his vulnerability. But the tidal wave of response only amplified the question.
Why now?
Why, after decades of silence, did he finally speak? In the letter's second half, he answered, "Because for the first time, I'm not afraid." He admitted that aging in Hollywood is difficult, not because of vanity, but because time forces truth into the open. When you're young, you can outrun your fears.
He wrote,
At 66, you sit with them. And you realize they are not monsters, they are memories. He confessed that leaving all my children the first time had nearly broken him. That the pressure to reinvent himself was overwhelming. That he felt invisible in a town that worships youth. He admitted that during his return to daytime television on General Hospital as Martin Gray, he felt both grateful and terrified, convinced that fans would reject him or see him as a relic of the past. I walked onto that set thinking, what if I can't do it anymore?
But they loved him. Not the young heartbreaker, not the rising star, but the man.
The seasoned, layered, quietly brilliant actor he had become. For the first time in my life.
He wrote,
I felt seen, not for a character, but for myself. And that, he explained, was the turning point.
The reason he finally spoke. The truth people always suspected ***.
For decades, fans said the same thing about Michael. He has a sadness in his eyes.
It wasn't an insult.
It was an observation, an intuitive recognition. His performances, even the comedic ones, carried an emotional undercurrent, a vulnerability that shimmered beneath the surface.
Some said he was too good at playing heartbreak, too good at depicting longing, too good at embodying tenderness.
And fans suspected, quietly, that he drew those emotions from something deeply personal. They were right. In the final pages of his letter, he confirmed what many had long suspected. I have always been someone who feels deeply, more deeply than I ever showed. I carried the weight of old wounds, old insecurities, old ghosts. And yes, much of my acting, the parts people loved most, came from that place. He revealed that even at the height of his fame, he felt lonely. That he struggled with self-worth. That he sometimes questioned whether he had anything meaningful to offer beyond a performance.
It wasn't a confession of failure. It was a confession of humanity. And it changed everything. The rebirth of a legend ***.
After the letter appeared, Michael did something that surprised everyone.
He vanished for 48 hours. No interviews. No clarifications. No statements. Fans panicked.
The entertainment press scrambled. Networks tried contacting him, but his phone went straight to voicemail.
What was he doing? Why disappear after revealing so much?
2 days later, he reappeared, this time in a short video, sitting in a sunlit backyard surrounded by California greenery. His hair was slightly tousled, and there were soft lines around his eyes that made him look entirely human, almost boyish. He smiled, a small, real, unperformed smile.
I didn't disappear, he said.
I simply breathed. He explained that releasing the letter was terrifying, cathartic, and liberating. That he'd spent 2 days walking, reading, reflecting, and reminding himself that the world had not ended because he'd been honest. I spent my whole life waiting for someone to tell me it was okay to be imperfect, he said.
Turns out, I didn't need permission.
I just needed courage. And then, he added something fans never expected. I want to spend the rest of my life doing work that matters, not because it makes me popular, but because it makes me proud.
This was not retirement. This was not goodbye. This was dawn.
Fans respond, a tidal wave of love ***. Within hours of the video, fan mail poured in. Literal mail, letters, postcards, drawings, handmade gifts. His management team reported receiving more messages in 72 hours than in the previous 5 years combined.
Fans wrote things like,
"You gave us permission to be human.
I always knew you carried something heavy.
Thank you for sharing it. Your truth was more powerful than any storyline. You're not Tad the Cat anymore, you're Michael, and that's better."
Celebrities chimed in too.
Writers, directors, actors, editors. Everyone had something to say.
But one message stood out. A former All My Children colleague wrote, "People loved Tad. But they love you more. Because Tad was iconic. You are real."
What comes next? Michael ended his letter with a promise. "From here on, I will live honestly. I will work honestly. I will speak honestly. Not as a character.
Not as an image. But as myself."
And then, the line that brought readers to tears. "I am enough."
For the first time, I believe that.
At 66, Michael E. Knight has entered a new chapter, not as the soap legend who stole hearts, not as the mysterious figure fans tried to decode, but as a man who has finally stepped out from behind the curtain.
He is not hiding anymore. He is not running anymore. He is not pretending anymore. He is simply living.
And for millions who have followed his career, who watched him grow, falter, triumph, disappear, return, that truth was worth the decades-long wait.
The curtain rises ***.
Months from now, people will remember this moment.
Not the rumors. Not the speculation. Not the years of mystery.
They will remember the letter.
The honesty. The courage. The humanity.
For some celebrities, reinvention comes through a new role, a new persona, a new image. For Michael E. Knight, it came through truth. At 66, he finally confirmed what many had long suspected. Behind the charming smile, the legendary performances, and the decades of fame, there lived a deeply sensitive, profoundly human soul, one who carried more emotion than he ever let the world see. And now, after a lifetime of silence, he has shared that soul with the world.
Not as Tad. Not as Martin.
Not as a character.
But as Michael. And the world has never loved him more.